In this video, we're going to discuss the event manager behavior. So there we go. There's our event. It's happening one by one. Letters are showing up. Nice glow effect going on. And a few seconds later, bam! Blood Moon Interactive, right? So that's our event, or actually a series of events that took place all in the span of a few seconds. And I'll show you just how that works. Just go ahead and close that. So pretty simple demonstration, but I don't want that to take away from the power of this particular behavior, because it goes back to what I'm saying all the time, right? Focus more on what it does. In this demonstration, it's simple. I just lit up letters one by one, but think about what you could do with this as we go through this. Okay. So in this case, I chose to activate it with a zone. So I'm just standing in the zone when the game starts, gave myself a few seconds to kind of introduce the topic, and then away it went. You could also activate this with a switch. So a switch, if you think about a switch, there are many different kinds of switches. It doesn't have to be a button or a lever. It could be anything that activates something else, right, is a switch. So lots of possibilities here. You know, you walk into a room and the door slams shut and, you know, I don't know, a scream happens and, you know, something shakes or hovers. You see what I mean? Like in a horror game, you could have a sequence of events, and this event manager is what ties them all together and pulls all together. You go back to the video that I did at the end of last year, where I used a whole series of delayed timed events to pop off fireworks. I could have done it with just this one behavior. Let's dig into the behavior itself. So we have the event mode, we have timed, and we have random. I want to show you what random does in contrast. So before we even dive into the rest of this, I'm just going to go ahead and press play again. Let me save it real quick. There we go. See how it's randomized the event. So now we have a whole new effect, right? It could, because what it's doing is it's activating and deactivating the word blood moon, right? Because each one of those individual items, and then that whole thing, I'll show you how all of that pops up at once, but that whole thing activated at one time, just kind of randomly as well. So a lot of cool stuff you could do with this. I'm just nerding out about it, really. So that's random. You get the idea behind time, different modes for this, right? Then you have the event link, and it starts with counting at 0. That's common for indexes. So in programming, an index always starts counting at 0. So that's your first link, and then your second link, and so on and so forth. Think of it that way. So you can have, I think it's 10 links and an if used, which we'll get to in a moment. But all of these are going to be the same. So the first event, which is just whatever you link to first, right? So that's my first link here to the B. That kicked off 10 seconds after it got initiated. And that's because I needed enough time to be able to introduce the video in complete darkness. And then you saw the letter appear. And then event link 1, which is the second link, remember, that kicks off 1 second after that, and 1 second after that. And you get the idea. It just kind of went letter by letter, and it just so happens that there are 9 letters in Blood Moon. So I thought, oh, that's perfect. I use that, and then these all are being activated at one time. So that's the if use. So I've got my 9 letters, and that activated all 9 links. And so how do I activate? These are all individual items, by the way, right? So how do we activate them all at once? And the way we do that is with the if use. So down here, you can activate just one thing, mind you, but in my case, I've got it turned on, and there was a 20-second delay. So that's 20 seconds after the entire activity begins. That's enough time for the 10 seconds plus all the individual seconds to tick away. That's, you know, you got to dial it in for whatever you're doing. But the way that worked is I'm referencing that if used in the developer settings here, see interactive. So as long as everything here, all these letters are all named interactive, they all count. And so that gives me that 11th event essentially. So we have the random modifier. The lower the number, the less randomization you get. The higher the number, the more randomization you get. And again, this is one of those things that you just have to get a feel for it and see what looks good, because I think depending on the events that you're talking about, that could vary wildly. There's the activated checkbox here at the bottom. If you're using a switch, you want that to be unticked because you don't want to activate it at start, right? But if you're using a zone, especially if you're going to be standing in the zone like I am, you want that ticked, because otherwise it would require it to be activated by some other means. So you want to tick that box in this circumstance, but untick it if you're going to activate it with a switch or some other kind of method of activation. And then you have the sound slot. Now that sound slot applies to everything. So in other words, let's suppose I did a fireworks sound. Every time an event triggered, you'd hear that same fireworks sound. So it's not just once at the beginning, it's when this lights up, and then when this lights up, and then when this lights up, and so on. So be careful with that, because that may not be what you really want, and you may have to, fiddle around with it and see what really works good for you. But that's it. That's the event manager. Hopefully you see what I see. Hopefully you see the power that has just been unleashed with this behavior, because I get jazzed when I think about all the different things we could be doing with this. One reason why I chose to demonstrate it this way is because this, here, I'm going to back up a step. So I made myself a little box, right? And I gave it all black, right? So it really did feel like it was just this black room, and all these are deactivated, right? So with enough fiddling around, what I could do is I could make my own animated logo, and then I could record that using something like OBS or something like that, right? And then that could be maybe the animation that's playing on the menu screen, right? Or if you want like a custom menu screen, so you do like a scene or something where there's a bicyclist riding by, and there's, a car or plane or something, certain things happening around you. You could create that scene, record it as a video, and then play that back as the intro to your game, for example. The possibilities are just limitless. So I hope you're getting as jazzed as I am. If you enjoyed the video, if you learned anything new, please be sure to click the like button down below. Helps me out a lot. If you're new here, or if you just haven't subscribed yet, would love to have you stick around. I kind of want to get to 700. We're getting really close to 700, so love to have you stick around. And then lastly, if you would like a notification for whenever new videos are posted, just click the bell icon, and that'll let you know when new videos are ready. Thanks so much for watching all the way through. I always appreciate that, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. Hey, don't forget there's a written guide for every behavior, including ones I haven't yet covered on this channel. And if you want to learn some more, why don't you check out this video next.